Hello, welcome to practice. My name is Katrina. If we haven't met in person, thank you so much for choosing to spend the next 45 minutes in this way with your practice. I would definitely recommend that if you don't have yoga blocks like this, that you have some sort of prop that you can use, especially if you're used to using blocks. I've seen people use toilet paper rolls, I've seen people use like big pots or books. There's plenty of things that you can use. Shoe boxes also, just so that you can have something to kind of give you a little bit more space in some of the poses. All of the poses will be totally doable without them, but if you can go grab something real quick, that might be a good idea just to have just in case. And then we're gonna start today seated. So you can sit up on something, maybe you want to sit on a pillow, a couch pillow works great, just so that your hips are a little bit elevated and then your ankles, your shins can be on the ground. And then we're going to start with our hands onto our thighs, sitting pretty tall in your spine. You can close your eyes. And just take a moment to feel yourself really land and arrive in this moment. Begin to notice how you're breathing. Maybe right away you feel like you want to take some deeper breaths. As we turn inside, we turn on our listening towards ourselves. And as we move through practice today, I invite you to truly meet yourself where you are at today. So if that means skipping some poses or modifying them or maybe amping some of them up, please do what you need to do. Just use my voice as a guide. So as you start here in the seated position, gradually turning your attention more inwards, begin to feel what it is that you are seated on. So maybe it's the floor, maybe it's a pillow or a folded up blanket. And begin to let your pelvis feel like it's softening into your seat. And then begin to imagine from your pelvis that you could send thick roots down. You go down through the soil and then through all the layers of the earth. You keep sending those roots down. Watch them as they carve their way. Making sure that your breath is still fluid up top. So you're not holding your breath as you visualize these energetic roots down from your pelvis. And they keep going and they keep going until they reach the core of the earth. And once they're there, they wrap, coil around the core of the earth to anchor you. And then zoom out for a moment so that you can see from your hips all the way down to the core of this planet. These thick cords, thick roots. And allow yourself to feel comforted by this, held and supported by this. And we'll keep moving with this imagery as we move through practice. So please bring your hands together in front of your heart without losing in your mind's eye this image of roots. Hands in front of your heart. Please rest your thumbs onto your chest so you can really feel your heartbeat beneath your hands. And let's start by breathing together 2 times. So please start by exhaling and then welcome a deep breath in. Big sigh. One more time. Any sound you like. And please gently bowing your chin to your chest. Release your hands. Feel the weight of your hands completely on your legs. And then blink your eyes open. All right, so we'll start in tabletop in hands and knees. So come on this way. You can put your props off to the side. And then really flatten your hands down into the floor. Tuck your toes underneath and squeeze your heels so they feel straight up. Now we have 6 points of contact here. So just take a moment and visualize roots down through each finger, through the palm of the hand, through your knees, and from your toes. Once you see that in your mind's eye, we'll begin to move through cat and cow. So as you inhale, loop your shoulders back, send your tailbone up and look slightly forward without crunching the neck. That's the inhale. And then exhale, push the floor away, around your spine, tuck your tail. And then back and forth like this with your breath, meaning inhaling to go forward and exhaling to scoop around. Try to feel that there's just as much movement in the pelvis as there is in the shoulders and in the neck. Just allow it to feel good, to feel really nice in your spine. And then begin to move in other ways, whatever feels good for you. Just free form. Intuition really takes over. Maybe 2 big circles with the head, with the hips. And then we'll take this intuition with us into downward facing dog. So you go a little longer in your stance. Find yourself in plank pose, like you're about to do push-ups. And then don't move your feet, don't move your hands. Bend your knees a little bit and push your hips up and back into a V. And really allow your knees to bend to take some of that edge off the back of the legs. Maybe you want to move around a little bit here. Stretch your toes, lift your heels, bend your knees a lot. And then once you're ready, you can come into still place. Still a little bend in the knees so you can really reach your tailbone up behind you. It has that sensation of lifting or sticking the butt out. And then drop your head, your neck, strong shoulders, roots down through each finger and down through each toe. Breathe in. Breathe out through your mouth. Push through your arms. And then look forward and walk your feet all the way up to your hands. So you're in a forward fold. Soften your knees quite a bit. And then lean a little bit more weight into your toes. Drop your head. Drop your shoulders. Take a couple big breaths here. Feeling roots down. So not just from your feet, but can you send roots down through your hips, through your legs, down and out into the floor, through those soles of your feet, through the pads of the toes. And then when you inhale next time, keep that pressure down in the legs. Inhale, arms all the way up. Stretch your arms up overhead. Exhale, arms down politely by your sides. Feel strong in the legs, still sending energy down, but now can you grow your spine taller away from that? So there's like a split at the hips. Keep that. Inhale, arms go up, stretch up like you could touch your ceiling. And then exhale, fold forward over soft knees. Inhale, rise halfway, stretch your spine forward. And then place your hands on the floor and step back into plank pose. We'll pause here in plank for a few breaths. You're welcome to put one knee down or both knees down if it gets too intense. Okay, roots again. Push down through your hands, but not just from the hands. Shoulders down into hands. Heels down into toes. Soft neck, soft face. One more breath in. And we'll go forward to lower through low plank. You can do it with knees down or not. Keep your chest lifting as you bend the elbows back. Point the toes and do a little cobra, just a little back bend. Soft neck still, soft jaw. And then exhale, release and make your way back to downward facing dog. Breathe in. Breathe out. Push down to slide the hips up and back. Round 2, soft knees, look forward, walk, or if you'd like to, hop your feet to the front of your mat. Soft in the knees, heavy in the toes, let the head go. Maybe shake the head yes, and shake the head no, just to make sure there's no work in the muscles of the neck. And then push down into your feet to grow tall. Inhale all the way up, stretch the arms up overhead. Exhale, arms down, but stay tall. Inhale, float the arms up again. Exhale, fold forward over the legs. Inhale, rise halfway. Slide your hands up or line them up with your toes, and then exhale, step back, plank pose. Just one inhale here in plank. And then exhale, lower forward to go down. Point your toes and inhale, cobra. Long back of the neck, roots down into the hands. Roots down in the tops of the feet. One more breath in. And then exhale, release, tuck your toes, downward facing dog. Breathe in. Breathe out. Last round, a little more traditional pacing, soft knees to look forward. In, walk your feet all the way up to the front of your mat or hop them. Inhale, rise halfway. Exhale, soften down and fold deeply in. Use your hands against the floor to leverage you in. And then inhale, come all the way up. Big stretch. Arms down by your sides. Inhale, arms fly. Exhale, fold forward. Now huge inhale here. Big, big inhale. Fill up the lungs. And then exhale, step back to plank and lower all the way down to your belly. Keep exhaling, and then point the toes, cobra or upward facing dog. And then exhale, release, downward facing. Let the breath settle. Let the limbs ground as the hips fly high. From here, please inhale to reach your right leg back behind you. And as it goes up, anchor more down into your left foot, whole left leg. And then step forward into a high lunge. So big step forward. Bring your hands up overhead once you feel steady in the legs. Deep bend in your front knee, but lift the back heel up. Now from your hips, root down into your feet. Try to feel as much steadiness in the legs as possible. And then lift the waist up, the ribs up, the arms up. Stretch through all of your fingers like you could touch your ceiling. Inhale here. And then you're going to bring your left hand down to the floor, or I'll do it with a block, with a prop. And then twist your chest just a little bit to the right. Here, can you feel just a little bit that your outer hips squeeze in and that your shoulder blades come together on the back to move your heart more through? Stretch up through the top arm and then breathe into the right waist. Inhale to bring both arms up towards the ceiling again. Strong legs. And then both hands come down inside of the leg. Inside of the leg. Spin your back heel down to the mat, so it's kind of between warrior one and warrior two. And then find a deep bend in that front knee. Without moving your legs, walk your hands out on a diagonal to your left. So your back foot's on just a little bit of an angle so that the heel can come down, but you don't feel any twisting in the knee. I like to do this on fingertips, so my hands are making little tents, but you can do hands flat if that feels better for you. Now, just like downward dog, push your hands down, shoulders strongly anchored down into the fingertips, and then slide the hips back, root the legs down. More breath. And we'll walk the hands back, peel the back heel up and step back, downward facing dog. Before we head to the other side, just take a moment to feel the asymmetries of doing some poses on one side. And then we'll balance it out. So strong anchor through that right foot, right whole leg. It really anchors in place, holds itself there, and then lift the left leg up and back, flex the foot. Try not to let the hips open to this side, but really keep the hips as they are. And then a nice light step, left foot up between the hands. Stretch the arms up overhead. Anchor the legs a little bit, squeeze the outer hips in to stabilize. And then stretch up through the whole upper body. The torso rises away from the heaviness in the legs. Soften the neck, soften the throat. Big breaths here in high lunge. Okay, the next time you exhale, you bring your right hand down to a block or to a prop or to the floor, and then twist your chest to the left. Same thing, outer hips squeeze in just a little bit to stabilize. And then the shoulder blades come together on the back, soft jaw. And then stretch up through the top hand, last breath here. And then we'll close it off. Both hands come inside of the leg. Back heel down on a little bit of an angle. So the toes are kind of like 45-degree angle towards the front of your space. And then walk your hands out on a diagonal. Out to the right. Look at your left knee. See that it's still on top of that ankle. It kind of tends to want to knock in. So see if you can keep it going wide. And then from your shoulders, push down and forward into your hands so your hips slide back. Root down into your legs, especially that back foot. Down, 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 and then breathe into the left waist. Like every breath could create a little bit more space, a little bit more movement inside. And then walk yourself back, peel your back heel up, and step back into plank pose. One breath in, high plank. Exhale to lower, forward to go down. Knees can always come first, all the way down to your belly. Point your toes, reach your arms back, palms down. Adjust your legs so they feel straight back. Scoop your belly away from the floor so it's strong. Even if it's still touching, it has the action of scooping away. And then lift your shoulders. Keep both of those things. Belly strong, shoulders lift, and then arms, chest, legs lift, locust. Try to feel the thumbs turn up a little bit, almost like the palms are trying to point side to side from the inner shoulder. So you get a stretch across the front of the chest, collarbone, smile. And then soften the back of the neck so no creases here. You can lower your chin a little bit to smooth it out. Root down through the front of your hips here so that your legs have the sense of bouncing away from the ground. Your chest has a sense of bouncing away from the ground. One more inhale. And then exhale, lower down. You can turn your head to one side or make a pillow with your arms up, close your eyes, and totally rest. Whew. Relax your hips, your belly, your legs. Let the floor hold you for a moment. And then we'll place the hands to the low ribs and make our way back to downward facing dog. So you can tuck your toes, lift your shoulders first, and then inhale, tabletop. Exhale, downward facing dog. Soft knees, point them a little bit apart from each other. And try not to create new tension in your shoulders. So it's a little bit like less tension, not more. Anchor your left leg and reach your right leg up and back. Big stretch back. And then exhale, step forward. We'll set up warrior two. So back heel down to the mat. Adjust your feet so your front heel draws a line straight for your back arch. And then reach your arms parallel to the floor. Look out over your right fingertips. Now here, I like to think of the roots from my hips going down in this big spiral around the legs. So it wraps around, out, and down from your hips down into your feet, down into the earth. And see it. Once that feels grounded, can you become more breathy, more billowy up top? Softer, more space. Take up space. Now inhale, straighten the legs, stretch your arms up overhead, look up, press your palms together. And then exhale, go straight back down, send the roots down, warrior two. Inhale, arms go up. Straighten the leg, exhale, press the arms down like they're going through something sticky. Two more. Last one. Press your palms together and then press them down. Turn your front palm up towards the sky, and then reverse. Keep that front knee right where it is as you tip up and then back. Your bottom hand can come down to the outer leg. Try not to dump into it, so it's just there for a little support. Breathe into the right ribs, stretch through the top arm. And then inhale to come up, strong legs still. And then cartwheel both hands down. They'll come inside the leg again. Peel your back heel up and wiggle your right foot out to the right a little bit. Back knee down. Turn your right toes on a little diagonal towards the front corner, and then we'll twist the chest with the back knee down. So you can have your right hand on your thigh to give you a little bit of support in that twist. Okay, so this is stage one. Option one, you can stay here. Or you can bend your back leg, flex your foot like you're kicking your own hip. So that's option two. And then option three is to reach back towards the foot. And if you're really close to catching the foot but not quite getting it, you can put your left hand up on your prop. Either way, shoulder blades a bit together to move the heart through. Ground down into the front foot and the back knee. Last breath. Strong stretch in that quad, front of the thigh. And without springing, especially if you have that back foot, very gently release. Tuck your back toes and go back through downward facing dog. Breathe in. Breathe out. And then inhale, left leg up and back. Anchor that right leg as it flies. Careful of what's behind you. And then we'll step forward into warrior two. Spin your back heel down. I'm going to spin around to still face you. Left leg forward. Stretch your arms parallel to the floor. Now the roots here spiral down from the hips all the way down to your feet, through your feet, down into the planet. And once you feel anchored there, then up top you can become softer. Smooth out your breath. Smooth out any tension that you feel in the upper body so that you can stretch more. You can take up more space. And then we'll inhale, straighten the legs, stretch the arms up, look up, press the palms together. Exhale, rebend the knee. Inhale, straighten the leg. Exhale, rebend. Two more. Last one. Keep that bend, reverse. Left palm up and back. You find the sweet spot, the place where your breath feels like it's creating more room, like it's enhancing the shape. And therefore, the shape is enhancing the breath. And then big inhale to come up and over. Both hands come inside the leg. Back heel up. Wiggle your left foot out. Turn the toes out. Knee down. Twist your chest to the left. Stage one is here. Stage two is to bend the back leg. Kick towards your hip. Maybe this is where you work. Or point the back ankle. Reach for the foot. Anchor down from your hips into your front heel, your front toes, and your back knee, and then a little bit shoulder blades together to lift the chest. Smooth out your breath. And then very gently release the back toes. Now tuck the toes, lift the back knee, and walk your feet around. You're going to pivot around so that you're in a wide leg shape. You're forward folding. So you can face towards this way, that works. And just make sure your feet are really parallel and you have a little bend in your knees. And then roots down, hands down, drop your head. And you bend your knees here as much as you need to feel that your low back can drop. So it doesn't feel like it's lifting you out of the pose. This is a great one to put your props under your hands if it's feeling super tight. Let your head dangle, your head drop without losing That anchoring feeling, active muscle tone in the legs as they send energy down. And then find the front of your space, whatever's front for you. Walk your hands around towards that leg. Peel the back heel up and step back. Downward facing dog. Okay, options here. You can hang out here in downward dog. You can come to child's pose, rest your forehead on the mat, or take a joining vinyasa where you'll inhale, plank pose. Exhale through low plank. Keep the shoulders lifted, point the toes, cobra or upward facing dog. And then release it back, downward facing dog. Breathe in. Breathe out, push through those arms. Shoot the hips up and back. Soft knees, look forward, walk or hop your feet to the front of your mat, front of your space. Weight heavy to the toes, drop the head. Inhale, rise halfway. Exhale, soften down, lean forward as you do. And then inhale all the way up, stretch the arms high. Big reach, touch the sky. Exhale, arms down by your sides and close your eyes for a moment. Just feel your breath flow, course through your body. Noticing the sensation of feet against the floor. How one foot maybe feels a little different than the other. Even if you're not really sure exactly in what way, you just notice it. And then when you're ready, you can blink your eyes open. Okay, grab a sip of water if you need. We're getting there. I'm just gonna do a couple of standing things and then we'll take it down. So make sure you have a little bit of room in front of you. I'm gonna step to the middle of my mat because my little South Philly home is a little bit narrow. And we're gonna start coming into a chair pose. So bring your feet all the way together and then find the heels of your hands right at the crease of your hips. So it's right there in the front. And then push back there so that your hips go way back. And you can really let your chest go forward. Keep that feeling of pressing the heels of the hands into the hips. It's so much that it feels like almost you could stick your butt back even a little bit more, like stick your butt up. Keep your knees pretty darn bent. And then stretch your arms up overhead. If having your arms overhead is too much, you can bring them here or keep them on your hips. But see if you can really feel those roots down through your feet, through your hips, down, 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 that you can stretch out through your torso away from that last breath. And then push down and like straighten the arms up towards the sky. Exhale, release your arms. Okay, so for this one, I'm just gonna face towards you. So you're gonna stand onto the right leg to do tree pose. So first, really feel your foot down into the ground. You're gonna spread the toes into the floor, really anchoring down through the sole of the foot. And then your left foot, you can do this kickstand variation with your toes on the ground. It helps support the balance a little bit more, or you can put your leg, your foot below your knee, or you can bring it up so your foot is above your knee. Whenever you find your version of tree pose, really feeling the energy down first, like really from both legs down into the floor, even like this foot that's against the leg can push in and down. And then we'll interlace the hands, press the palms forward. And without losing the down in the lower body, lift your back up so your back goes super straight and tall. And then begin to bring the arms up overhead. And now they might not make it all the way. If your shoulders are tighter, you might pause maybe even here. Just a place where you feel a stretch in your shoulders without losing the integrity of the back. The ribs can kind of tend to pop open. So you can keep the strength in the front of the ribs as the arms stretch away. Now push up through the thumbs, the index fingers, and see if you can feel through your body energy going in two directions. So down from your hips and then up from the waist. If you want to challenge your balance even more, you can slowly send your gaze up towards your fingers. As the gaze goes up, the roots kind of tend to lighten a little bit. So see if you can really keep them anchored down. And then gaze back to the center, unwind the arms, step your foot down, maybe do some little ankle circles with your right ankle, shake it out. And then we'll do the other leg. So left foot, left leg, really anchoring down through the sole of the foot, through the toes, and then set up your right foot to the inner leg somewhere. And then find the interlace, the other hand on top. So if you did it this way, do it this way. And then press your palms forward. Feel from your hips down, from your waist, grow tall, and then the arms are an extension of that. Press up through the fingers, the thumbs. And then once you find a steadiness in your breath, if you want to challenge your balance even more, the eyes turn up towards the hands. If you look up towards the ceiling, that might give you a little bit more support. The most challenging I find is to look directly at the hands because they have this little sway as your body finds its balance. So you choose the challenge that you want. Let's try to stay soft in your neck. And then we'll gently unwind, bring the arms down, step the foot down, and then do little circles with your left ankle. Shake it out. Okay, so I'm going to face back this way again. And we're going to come to chair pose again. So feet all the way together. And now bring both hands to the right hip, to the front crease of the right hip. And push that place back to come into chair. So same thing that we just did, just both hands are over to the right. And then keep that feeling of pressing back and just notice how your thigh pretty easily goes back here. And then when you bend your left leg, pick it up off of the ground. Pick it up off of the ground, lower your chest so it's more parallel to the earth. You might feel like that right hip kind of wants to swing forward. It might be really subtle, but just see if that's something that you notice. It might just mean a little bit more attention to slide it back. Really push down into that standing foot. And then extend your left leg back into warrior three. Really straight and strong in the back leg. You can keep your standing leg bent, but keep pushing that right hip back. Arms can stay here. They can come to the hips, maybe to prayer, maybe all the way up and overhead for the most challenge. Keep the right hip going back. Breathe fully. 3, 2, 1. Now stand down into your right foot. Pull your left knee into your chest. Stretch your arms up. Big reach. And then exhale, lower down, feet all the way together. Both hands over to the left. Sit your hips way back. Lower your chest parallel to the floor. And then bend your right leg. Notice how the right hip kind of pushes a little bit more into your hand. Keep pressing it back and then extend your leg behind. Really straight and strong in the back knee. Really grounded into the standing foot. Stay here or come here or here. Or arms overhead. Try to really straighten the back leg, really stretch through the fingers, create more space between your heel and your fingertips. 3, 2, 1, and then stand down, pull your right knee into your chest, big breath in, big reach. And then step your foot down. You can come to a little space between your feet. Make sure they're still really parallel, bend your knees and fold forward, hold on to opposite elbows, and just dangle down. Whew. Maybe sway a little bit from side to side. And then very gently place your hands to the floor. Come all the way down to downward facing dog. Breathe in dog. Breathe out. And then we'll reach the right leg up and back. Really anchored left leg. Right leg back, bend the knee and twist the hips open. So when you come into this like fire hydrant place, try not to lose the rooting feeling through your left shoulder. And then we'll come into pigeon pose. So bring your shin forward across the front of your mat. You can kind of scoot your back leg back a little bit. Really make sure the leg is straight back behind you. And then come up on fingertips. Take a big breath in. And then exhale, fold forward onto your elbows. Now, if this doesn't work for your knee, if you have any strain or pain in your knee, I just recommend lying on your back instead and coming into figure 4. So you cross your right ankle over your left thigh, flex both feet. You're just going for a stretch on the outside of the hip, so you find the way that works best for you. If you're in this pigeon shape and you have something that you can put underneath your forehead, if your head doesn't come easily to the floor, you can either use a block underneath your forehead, or maybe just stack your fists one on top of the other. Try to smooth out your breath a little bit here and notice how there's so much more surface area now on the ground. You have the front shin, the back leg, the elbows, and the head. It's kind of, even if it's not actually on the ground, you can feel that you've just brought the ground to you. If after a couple breaths you feel like the back leg has a little space to wiggle back more, even if it's just a 1/4 inch, just coaxing and opening from the outside of that right hip. Nice and easy. Last breath here. And then please make your way back up onto your hands and just scoot the back leg in a little bit. Really ground your fingers, ground your palms, and then step back, downward dog. And then the left leg goes back, big stretch back, bend the knee, twist the hips open to the side without losing the grounding of the right leg, right arm, right shoulder. And then come on down, shin across the front of your mat. Maybe wiggle the back leg back a little bit. Come on, fingertips, take a big breath in. And then once you have that long spine, it drapes forward and down. Propping up your head, perhaps. And if you need to do this instead in figure 4 on your back, just flip over and cross your left ankle over your right thigh. Hold on behind the right thigh. If you're in pigeon pose, just really try to feel that right leg straight back. And a gentle coaxing opening, like every breath can kind of help encourage that softening into the left hip. And if you're feeling like you have a little more space, you can wiggle the right leg back just a little bit for the last couple of breaths here. Just get what you need. Do the variations that you need to so that this pose can feel more good than anything else. It might be intense, but I still want it to feel good. Last breath. And very gradually make your way back up. You can scoot your back leg in a little bit. Ground through the hands and head back to downward facing dog. Pedal your feet or stay still or take one last joining vinyasa, plank pose, through low plank, cobra or upward facing dog. And then releasing back, downward dog. Just get whatever you need here in this last downward dog, and then we'll make our way all the way down to our backs. So you can bring your knees down to the ground and flip over so that you're laying on your back. Just pull your knees into your chest. Rock a little bit from side to side. Maybe stir with the knees a little bit. And then place your feet flat to the floor. We'll set up for bridge pose. So to set up bridge pose, you want to feel that your feet are really parallel. So they really make an 11. Their toes are pointing straight ahead, so they're not flying out to the sides at all. And then I like to do this version with a robot arm almost, so my elbows are down on the ground, but my fingers point up towards the sky. You can do this, or if you're on a mat, you can reach down and kind of wrap your fingers around the outsides of your mat to give yourself a little bit of support. Or you can obviously walk your hands together once we go up into bridge. Very important when we're in bridge pose to keep the face up towards the sky. You don't want to turn your head, so just listen to my voice as we go into bridge pose. So your face is straight up towards the sky. And now here are the roots. We have through the roof of the mouth, down through the back of the head, ground that down. Both shoulders, like the outer arms, down, and then feet, especially the big toe, down. Send the roots down, and then inhale to lift the hips off the ground. Lift your chin a little bit from your chest so you really feel the center of the head is down. And push down even more into those feet so that feel the legs activate. You don't have to feel like your hips are really pressing up towards the sky. In fact, perhaps lower your hips about a 1/2 inch so they're not all the way at your capacity, because we're going to stay here for a couple of breaths. Just notice what's happening in your body. If you feel like one leg is stronger than the other, if one hip feels a little bit lower, and just do your best to try to find some balance from side to side. If your arms are long, try to keep your elbows and your wrists down as much as possible. Smooth breath. Feel the parts of your body that are touching the floor really on the ground. And then if your hands are interlaced, use your inhale to release them. Everyone, exhale to lower down, hips down to the floor. Put your hands on your belly, walk your feet wide, wider than your hips, and then knock your knees in and close your eyes. Just breathe. All right, from here, you bring your arms out into a cactus shape, like a little goalpost. And if your hands don't touch the ground when you do this, this is a great place to use your props and put your blocks underneath your hands or whatever it is that you're using underneath of your hands. If your hands come down to the ground, then you can move those to the side. If you don't have props, you can just bring your arms out to the side too. That works. So straight out, that works great. And then we'll start to do little windshield wipers with the knees. So let both knees go to the right. And then put your left hip back down on the ground. Your knees follow back up. And then knees to the left. Put your right hip back down. As your right hip goes down, your knees come back up. And just keep going back and forth this way. Just trying to feel that the hips level and it pulls the knees back up. Just doing so with as much or as little effort as you need for it to feel really nice across your back. And then pause with your knees in the center. Slide your hips a couple inches to the left. Scoot them off center and bring your knees to the right. Okay, this is stage 1. You can stay here. Stage 2, should you choose to do it, is to cross the right ankle over the outside of the left knee. And then give just a gentle tug forward. Almost like you're pushing your left hip up towards the sky. And then really let the right side of your body become heavy. You can even turn your head, your face to the right. So the same direction as your knees. And maybe close your eyes. Try to feel your right cheek melt towards the ground. Your right waist, right ribs, and right hip. And then let the right foot slip off and we'll go back through center. Everything through center so you can scoot the hips off center to the right. So way over to the right, knees to the left. Either stay here or cross the ankle over. Left ankle will go on top this time. Give just a gentle tug forward through that heel. Maybe you turn your head to the left. You just kind of pick it up and place it back down to the left. And then let that whole left side of your body be heavy. If your head is turned, the cheek melts to the ground. The left ribs, left waist, and left hip really anchoring down. Letting gravity happen. And then pulling the knees, hips, everything back through center. Pull your knees into your chest one more time. Give yourself the realest hug. The most loving expression towards the shins, towards the knees. And then do whatever final things you want here before we go into our second to last pose. You can do happy baby if you want. Maybe hold on to the feet, rock a little side to side or the ankles. And then as you're ready, you can bring yourself into soles of the feet together with the knees wide. And then place one hand to your belly and the other hand either to your ribs or your heart, whatever feels best. And then close your eyes here. And make whatever little adjustments you need. If you need to kind of adjust your shoulders or your hips, whatever you need to do. Just to feel like you can come to a place of stillness where there's no need for the muscles to effort. No need for the muscles to grip anywhere to protect any of the joints right now. So everything can just relax. You feel the weight of your hands on your body as the first grounded place. So hands to the body, the full weight of the muscles and bones of the hands resting on the torso. Every time you breathe, feeling the rise and fall of the hands. And then noticing all of the other places that are touching the floor. Starting from the back of your head and going all the way down to the outer edges of the feet. Imagining that whole back of your body is inked like a stamp. So you're really aware of exactly the shape that's being made. Allow your inhales to complete and your exhales to complete. And then as you're ready, we'll extend our surface area even more into Shavasana. So you can reach your arms out by your sides, palms up, one at a time. Extend your legs long. You can let your toes flap out to the sides. Feel free to cover up with a blanket or something if you feel like you might get chilled. Now notice you've gained some more surface area here. Got the backs of the hands, the forearms, the calves, the heels. Feeling that even the places that aren't touching the floor can feel just as grounded, just as supported. So maybe the backs of the ankles, the backs of the knees, the backs of the wrists, the low back, and the back of the neck can have as much support as the places that are actually touching the floor. And if at any point you feel your mind start to wander onto other things, or you find yourself distracted by the happenings or noise in your environment, I invite you to come back to this awareness of the back body, of the support from the floor. As you shoot roots down, little tendrils of life down into the soil. We'll stay here in Shavasana for a few minutes, but if you'd like a longer Shavasana, you feel free to pause the video at any time. Please begin to breathe a little deeper. Without losing this awareness, without losing the knowledge of how connected you can feel to what is beneath you, to what is holding you. And as you breathe, gently inviting soft movements to your fingers and to your toes, your wrists and your ankles. Maybe placing your feet flat to the floor and stretching your arms overhead for a big yawn. Just getting whatever movements you need, and come to lie on one side. You can keep your eyes closed and make a pillow with your arms. You're in a little fetal position on one side. And just pause here for a moment, just feeling what you feel. Perhaps with strong awareness to the memory of the poses as they live in your body. While you're here, maybe thank yourself for the effort that you've put forth, mental, physical, and emotional effort that you set forth onto your mat or into your practice. For creating this space in your day. And whenever that feels complete to you, you can use your hands to press yourself up to a seated position and close your eyes. If they open on the way up, just find a comfy seat, sit up on a pillow again if you want to, and bring your hands together in front of your heart. Find the grounding feeling of hips down, the lengthening expansion of spine tall. Sometimes I'm learning that sometimes just to take a moment and feel feet against the floor, or feel hips beneath the heart is a really stabilizing and grounding feeling. And I invite you to turn towards that whenever you need it. To feel the support of this planet beneath your feet. Thank you so very much for sharing your time and your practice with me today. I'd like to close by breathing together one more time. So please exhale and welcome a deep breath in. And let it go. Please gently bow your chin, release your hands, and open your eyes. All right. Well, thank you so much again for sharing in this practice. Nava is posting new practices every day, so please keep checking back for new opportunities to move and breathe. If you have any requests, questions, feedback, feel free to find me on Instagram. You can DM me. My name is Katkin, Katkinnn. There's 3 N's at the end of it. So please feel free to reach out if there's anything that we can do in these practices so that they can serve you better. I'll be making more in the coming weeks. Thank you so much. Have a good one.